Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. Yes! 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 No! 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 Fuck! Shit! Cunt! Balls!
Hello everybody, welcome back. It's 2FAST2MOVIE. I'm your host Abraham, and with me is my co-host Ben Collins here to talk about the finale of Part 1 of Attack on Titan Season 4, titled Above and Below. Now before we begin, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. We upload new videos every single week. And spoilers ahead, you have been warned for this episode. A fantastic episode and a great way to finish off an amazing season. Unbelievable.
It's been a good run. I think the only issue that I have with Attack on Titan at this point is their PR team needs to do a better job defining what a season finale is. Because they've had the fandom up in a fucking tizzy of like, wait a minute, you guys are nowhere near done.
Yeah, what? Is there going to be a part 2? Turns out they actually just announced there's going to be a part 2 winter 2022. So in the January, February months of next year. So thankfully we've got an announcement and we know when to expect it. Yeah, I can't believe that they really nailed the tone shift this well. I think I was really worried after the season 3 finale, where they left off the show. Not that it was bad. It was a great truth to reveal, but I was worried that they were going to misproperly handle it. This episode has solidified in my mind that they are well aware of the choice that they've made with the storytelling, and they're giving it proper care, which is really all I care about.
It is. We have been presented Eren as now there really is no debate anymore. He is straight up just the antagonist of the show, to the point where the show keeps giving him freebies on where his character can get to, and he is just creating obstacles for all of our other main characters now. Yep.
Everybody's in jail, and now it's Eren v. the world. So with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into the episode. So let's start at the beginning. As Hanji and the Jaegerists ride to Zeke's location, they hear the distant sound of a thunder spear exploding. And at the scene of the explosion, Levi is nowhere to be found, and Zeke slowly begins to die. As he does so, his vision fades, and we see a quick glimpse of a young blonde girl holding what looks to be a bucket. And as Zeke lies motionless on the ground, a Titan approaches him, rips open its stomach, and places his severed body in its guts.
We talked about this last week, that Zeke had to be dead, and there wasn't really much left in the magic system for him to survive. But we're seeing a couple things that allow us to think that this is going to move a little differently. And I do want to say that whatever happens, I believe that Zeke is about to go through a character arc.
Yeah.
In whatever way. The show has clearly presented that this should have outright killed him, and for whatever reason,
it didn't.
It seems that, from what we can tell, related to his royal blood, a Titan has come to his aid. We do not know what's going to be happening, but
he's not dead, but he could definitely go through some sort of change.
Yeah. Honestly, I see the imagery of him being put into a Titan being a lot more of the same sort of imagery as of a caterpillar going into a cocoon before a metamorphosis.
Or like a mother, oddly enough, a mother giving birth. Or like a mother,
rebirthing.
It's weird.
Which are both permissible. I think the big thing here to talk about was Zeke is the woman that he saw previously.
Yeah.
So both you and I had different theories.
Go ahead. I want you to say yours first. What you thought.
So she has blonde hair and she's really young. At first, her features remind me of kind of a younger Historia. And then thinking back on it, almost all pertinent members of the royal family have this blonde hair and either golden or blue eyes. I
think it's blue.
Quite remember. Yeah, it's probably blue. I always get Full Metal Alchemist and other things confused when I'm like figuring out blonde people that with special features.
Same morals.
It's the same principles. Yeah, same thing. Both commenting on fascism and all of that. Yeah. But the piece that I'm seeing is I could see this being a member of the royal family and potentially a past founding Titan that is trying to bring things in. Now, we've already seen that there's some weird sort of control of Titans and some weird time thingies that happen with other pieces. I believe we've gotten a name for what that is in the show previously.
They are called the Paths, Paths. We don't know what they are, but it's something that points to the founding Titan, something that Ymir saw when she first came back to life, and after she ate Reiner's friend, she woke up in this weird mystical place where a bunch of streaks were in the sky. That is that world, place, mental state. Don't know.
Regardless, I personally see this as being part of that.
I would agree. What I said, which doesn't contradict yours, but might like aid it and give it more body, because I noticed the blonde girl and I was like, why of all people this? And I was like, why a royal family? Is there anybody prominent enough? A few times in the show, we have seen an image of a girl making a deal with the devil. And in season 2, in the end credits, we saw that the color hair of the girl was blonde. And that girl was called Ymir in season 3 in Grisha's flashback. So what if this is Ymir? And what if they're called the subjects of Ymir. So she still kind of has like a god presence over all of them? Yes. So maybe that's her, and maybe she is in some way connected to this path power that all Titans have. Again, that's as good as we've got. We don't know how it works, but all we know is Zeke is clearly not dead. And neither is Levi, because no body, no kill.
Those are the rules of anime.
Mm-hmm. Shows
and pretty much everything. I am still convinced in Star Wars that Mace Windu is alive somewhere.
Samuel L. Jackson jumped out of a window and went, you know what, I'm done.
I'm just not. We've seen Jedi deal with stuff like that before. Like, he's got to be fine.
And if Levi were to die, the moment that it should have happened would have been this episode. Ending part 1 on the death of a major character seems more appropriate. I don't think they're going to pick up first episode, oop, Levi's dead.
No.
Because that would be a shitty way to start.
Yeah, it's definitely, if he was dead, we would have paid the time and credence to it that was required, and the show does know how to put his time in. I don't think that he made it out unscathed. I think he's going to be pretty fucking injured, and he does not have Titan healing abilities, so Levi could still be out of the picture as far as combat's concerned.
Which would be really unfortunate, but also a nice change of pace, considering how he's always been A1 goated #1 Titan killer. So to see him in this, I guess
it's going to increase this. Yeah, it's going to increase the stakes for our for the main characters that we like, and I think it's actually going to give Mikasa a little bit more time to shine as the main offensive prowess as the last Ackerman.
Yeah.
The question is can she actually do anything against Eren, or was Eren completely right and she's basically a slave to
him?
Whatever it is that the Ackermans are a slave to. Because we still haven't got a clean definition on that.
Yeah. Only time will tell, and hopefully they can do more in part 2 to explain that. But I guess moving on to the next part of the episode, because there is more to talk about. A lot, actually. We got to talk about Yelena and everything that happened with the scouts. So, now that the Jaegerists control the military and Shiganshina, Yelena has a talk with Pixis, who surrendered after learning about the spinal fluid. The two discuss the roads that led them to where they are now. Yelena says that they should all have trusted Zeke from the beginning, But Pixis questions if it was wise or foolish to be suspicious of him, as, he did poison the wine from the start. Meanwhile, the Scouts and the Browse family sit in a jail cell, and Mikasa and Armin recount their encounter with Eren to the group. Connie notably admits that Eren's turned into a complete asshole who would turn on his childhood friends. And John poses to the group that if he were in his right mind, there must be a reason why he's doing all this. Right? As this happens, Yelena, Onya Capone, and Grease arrive. As the tensions rise, an exchange between Niccolo and Grease heats up as he insults Sasha and Niccolo's relationship. After calling her a devil-blooded whore, Yelena promptly shoots him in the head and apologizes for his rudeness. She then reveals the entire euthanization plan to the group. And surprisingly, Armin breaks down and weeps, calling their actions noble. Let's start at the beginning. The wise and foolish debate.
Personally, I think Yelena kind of nails it on the head. The show does do, actually, in my opinion, a nice job of self-commentating on the situation, where Yelena, as the person in power, I'm not going to lie, as much as I don't like Eren or Zeke, I actually really like Yelena.
Yeah, out of all of the people who's doing the euthanization plan, I feel like Zeke is only doing it because he doesn't value his own life.
Yes.
Whereas Yelena is doing it because she truly believes that this is the way to save the world, to believe in Eren and Zeke, which is...
It's problematic, and, well, for many... first of all, from, just a moral litmus test, this would not pass.
No.
There's a couple, if you're going, if you're doing morality based in numbers of what causes the most survivors and ends the most suffering, this makes sense in a cold-hearted
utilitarian
robot way.
But it's as what's her name, the girl who Sasha saved in season 2, none of these people did anything directly.
Yeah.
Their ancestors did, and to punish them and to deny them life is not good on a moral test.
Yeah. Again, but you can see why some people would turn to this after ages of suffering, and we have to remember that Yelena, who did not come from Marley, was still an Eldian who was treated brutally in another country.
Yeah.
Everyone that has not been on Paradise has had to deal with this persecution in a very dehumanizing way, while the people on Paradise had to deal with the terror of the Titans, which admittedly is still the terror of
Marley,
their own people.
But it's detached almost.
It is.
It wasn't that way for 100 years, and only in the last 6 months of seasons 1 through 3's timeline, maybe. Actually, no, it's not even 6 months. It's honestly, it's a few weeks.
A month.
Yeah.
No, it's they learned a lot of information very quickly. So from Yelena's perspective, and perhaps a lot of the people outside, they might see the euthanization plan as there is a reason why that could seem attractive.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
The whole reason why I like Yelena in this moment is she's able to spell it out of, you were both foolish and wise. It was wise and I think that she's right. It's wise to be cautious of your people, but it's foolish not to listen and hear them out.
Yeah. But I guess the counter to that, and I think Pixis doesn't outright say it, but the fact that Zeke took the precaution to poison them with wine from the beginning leads me to believe that they were only wise in not trusting Zeke, because, they couldn't see the greater picture because they wouldn't let them. They didn't trust them enough to tell them the euthanization plan. So does that speak to their own wavering ethics, or the fact that they didn't believe in the people of Paradise enough too? They were helping them build the railroads. They were helping them, as Onya Capone put it, taking them out of this, horrible civilization that they were behind 100 years, and they helped them with that, but they didn't trust them enough to tell them the plan from the beginning. Was it wise or foolish of them to do that? Of Yelena and Zeke?
I do think that they were, there is definitely credence to what you're saying, and I think with that in mind, it definitely seems like they shouldn't have trusted Zeke from the beginning, and Yelena and them probably should have tried to get this message across earlier.
Yeah.
Without it becoming something to blindside people.
Yeah.
Check out Blindslide in one of our older shows.
But I mean, that just speaks to war and how we kind of have this like afterthought after everything has been said and done. We kind of have this like, man, should we have done X? And we can't do anything about the past. The only thing we can really do is just try and analyze the future and maybe learn from the past.
And one of the things we talked about last episode is the fact that if none of our main characters know this information, it basically would come down to Levi to convey the plan in order for it to be stopped. Yelena has now put everything on the table and all the secrets are out.
Yeah.
So everyone's now on the same page, and we did previously get this piece from Jean that, just thinking about if Eren was in his right mind, there would be a reason for all this abuse and terrible things that he's done for his friends.
But that contradicts the whole thing, because if the plan was noble and if he truly believed that, then why would he push Mikasa and tell her he hates her and then beat the shit out of Armin?
I don't think Eren's plan has anything to do with the euthanasian plan.
Yep. I'm kind of in the same boat.
I think it has nothing to do with it.
And we'll get to that later, what Eren's true plan is or what Eren's reasons could be. Let's talk about Armin, because as I said earlier, when Yelena explains the plan and John kind of is like, well, how are we supposed to defend ourselves with old geezers? Yelena responds, that's why we're using the rumbling, because we need to use that as a deterrent, passed down the royal bloodline and the founding titan until we all die out peacefully. Armin calls it a noble act. What did you think of that?
Well, first of all, Armin's breaking down and weeping when he calls it a noble act. And one thing, I don't think we're done with whatever his statement was, because he was about to say something else before the interruption of, there's about to be some good old Titan fighting upstairs. Big fleshy mecha suits. Yep. Gotta love it. But we know that's about to... It gets interrupted by a fight that's about to break out upstairs, and Yelena is called up in order to keep an eye on Eren and see where shit's about to go.
Right.
I don't think that Armin fully agrees with Yelena. I think Armin is a very smart person, extremely intelligent, and he understands what Yelena is trying to do and how their actions do make sense in that way. But I don't see Armin actually going along with this and being like, yeah, I'm a Jaegerist now.
Here's what I would like to pose to you. Because on a first watch, I was shocked by Armin's response. I thought it was a ploy at first. And then when I thought about Armin's arc in the season and the context for the Liberio attack, Armin wanted peace for 4 years. He wanted to negotiate. And Eren left them all and staged an attack by himself and forced Armin's hand to blow up the port and kill thousands of people. I think Armin, though he hasn't vocally said this out loud, I think that act has weighed on him more than I think he's obviously changed as a character. He used to be bright-eyed and happy about exploring the world, and now he's just solemn all the time. And I think that act did weigh on him a lot. I think that Yelena telling Armin and the group that everything that they've done is for something peaceful gives him relief.
Interesting.
Because from Armin's perspective, when he looked down at those bodies from the Colossal Titan, and that shot where he was just huge looking on the red, fiery, burning town, that's a lot for a person to commit. Dropping a nuclear bomb, but like you are the bomb.
Yeah.
And I think that Yelena's plan, though Armin, of course, might have reservations in the moment, I think it's relief that he's feeling. And I think that's why he responded in the way that he did.
Honestly, that is not only entirely valid, but I think that makes just incredible sense.
Because I don't think we have time for Armin to like weigh the consequences of the plan. They're in the war. Marley's gonna attack. They're like in the week that they have tried to like, you know, get peace. They've done it in a military invasion, war crimes, genocide, and now they're about to be invaded. There's a military coup. Everything happened so fast and slipped out of his fingers. I will
say this was over the portion of a month in story.
We sure?
So
sure about
yeah.
that?
No, there's a bunch of passive dialogue that it's been a month since the Marleyan attack.
Okay. It seemed well still a month is
it's
still a short turnaround time.
No, it is a very short turnaround time. The full unfoldings of after the time skip of after Sasha was buried have been roughly about a week. But the reason why the attack and everything is mobilized, and they even say Zeke gave you a month to decide, and you guys waited too long.
Oh, so you mean a month before the attack on Liberia? Like
no.
Oh, you mean from Liberia to where they are now?
Since the attack on Marley, it has been a month.
Okay, good to know. That's a good timeline. That's a good timeline to think about.
Yeah. So the timeline is there. But we also have to remember that Armin and Mikasa didn't have access to Eren.
Yeah.
Like, they were completely sidelined throughout all this, and then suddenly, now everything is completely out of their control.
Yeah, and also the fact that they were in the dark about everything and Eren's true motives must have been scary for them. That they had lost... they think they lost their best friend.
No, entirely. It's, unfortunately, I think that they... until Eren either comes out with the actual reason, for all intents and purposes, they've lost him.
Well, let's talk about Eren, because not only did we get all of that, which already is it's like a packed episode, we get an entire section of the show just with Eren, Pieck, and Gabi. So
best fucking part.
Yeah,
this is
hands down. Eren comes into Gabi's cell, and he refers to her as the brat who killed Sasha, and tells her to go on a radio to reveal the location of suspected infiltrators. As that happens, Pieck casually walks in, stabs his guard in the throat, and points a gun at Eren. At first, she threatens to kill him, but Eren sees through her, knowing that they aren't allowed to kill the Founding Titan, only to eat it. She then throws her hands up and seemingly begins to switch sides. She talks about her father in the internment zone who needed medicine, and how she only joined the Marleyan military to help him. As Gabi looks on, she points the gun at her, calling her a traitor. But Pieck takes the time to explain to Gabi that they are not Marleyan warriors. They are, and will always be, Eldians. Pieck offers to point out the infiltrators on the roof, and she and Gabi are escorted there, handcuffed together, in case of a transformation. As she gets to the roof, and Gabi is shaking, she holds her hand and gives her a knowing smile. She points to Eren when he asks, "Where is the enemy?" And at the same time, Galliard's jaw titan pops out of the ground and bites his legs off. Marleyan blimps begin to roll into paradise, where Reiner, Magath, and Colt witness Eren transforming. As Eren looks on, he proclaims, "Bring it on, Reiner." And that is where we end part 1 of season 4 with the beginning of the invasion of paradise. Wow, what a way to finish.
I know.
If that's how we're starting next part, bro. God tier anime. God tier.
I know. This is to say a little bit exciting is We're in it. Honestly, I'm glad that like we have this time because I am fully planning on a complete rewatch of this show before we go in for the final piece because I want to have every bit of knowledge I can because we're in it, boys. We are in it. So
I think let's
one
start
of the
with
first,
Pieck.
yeah, we got to start with Pieck. She does give that little bit of backstory, which I guess like one thing to note is that Pieck is offering two sides of this. She really spells out to Gabi, not Sasha. Sasha's so dead. She spells out to Gabi the situation that Gabi is entirely too idealistic to realize, which is the fact that you're still a subject of Ymir. You're an Eldian, and Marley doesn't care about you. And the second that Titans are out, they're going to kill us all.
Yep. And that's something that Gabi needed to hear. Definitely.
Yes. Now, of course, at almost immediately, she turns around and after being very suave with her lies to Eren, turns around and shows that she is still fighting basically for Marley. So there's a little bit of a little bit being called into question.
She makes the distinction, and when Gabi and her are underneath Galliard and the things roll in, she says, I thought you betrayed Marley, and then she goes, look, I don't trust Marley. Like, she makes that explicit. And she says, I don't trust Marley, but I do trust the companions that I fought alongside. So, we've talked about Marley as a whole, and we've talked about Magath as an Eldian sympathizer, and the future that could hold for the Eldian people if Marley defeats Paradise. And I think Pieck knows that, and I think the reason why she is fighting against Paradise now is because, like you said originally, like, that could be a way forward for all Eldians to go free around the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think that's a contradiction. I think she means everything she says when she says that to Gabi, but the lie is that she is going to side with Eren.
And I will say, this is actually this is only possible because of what Magath and Willy put in place. They knew that the odds of an attack were extremely likely. Yep. That Willy was likely going to die. And they put all the MPs of the military in the first couple rows for the play. Yep. Which resulted in pretty much all of them, with the exception of Magath, being killed.
Means he's in charge, and if he's the sympathizer, he can lead this new change for Eldians.
And Eren, and frankly, all of Paradise do not know that.
Yeah, no, they still see Marleyans as people who hate Eldians and are using them for Titan warfare.
So this is... I think that's the only reason why this lie ends up working, and unfortunately, it also creates a system where we as the audience now know that there's another option for peace for Eldians, but none of our main characters know about this right now.
And that's, I think, the tragic thing about this war is that as much as we can say that Eren is like gone AWOL, the Jaegerists have, everyone right now in the battlefield for Paradise is fighting for the Eldians' future. And a positive Eldian future. No one is fighting to keep them in the internment zones. No one is fighting to keep them as, cannon fodder for war. They all want what's best for the world. And that's a great way to end off this part. Setting the stage for this final conflict, a moral conflict, really.
Yeah. It's... Again, this show has turned into just... Initially, when I was told that this show had the potential of surpassing Full Metal Alchemist, I didn't believe it. I think that it has gone leagues better than what we have seen in that previous all-time amazing anime.
Yeah.
Like, this is, in my opinion, this is going to be at the point where it is going to surpass probably almost most, if not all, television shows, period, as far as the writing, the storytelling, and frankly, at this point, even the ending.
Yeah. Right now, it is surprising. It's also surprisingly relevant. Like, even though, of course, like, this is all an allegory for World War II and the conflicts that arise then, the idea of the cycle of hatred, continuing it, wanting what's best for your people, and the disconnect between people is something that is going to be relevant from now until the end of time. So, man, hats off to Isayama for creating this amazing story. I want to talk about Gabi also, because I think we've been waiting for the moment where Gabi can begin to, I guess, fully develop and take on the world for what it truly is, and develop a more gradient morality system rather than a black and white one.
Yeah.
I think it's happened.
No, I completely agree. This is the big change that we've been looking for. And after Pieck, someone who she has looked up to her entire life spells that out for her. This is not Reiner. This is not Falco. This is not an Eldian that she has met on Paradise. And this is not someone who she sees as a traitor. This is someone who she trusts, looks up to, and completely believes in.
Yeah.
Completely dissecting every lie that she has fed in and chosen to believe.
And on top of all of that, the beginning of the scene with her has her questioning why Armin and Mikasa were so nice to her, even after everything that they did, even after everything that she did. And later on, when Eren reveals that Falco had wine in him, she goes, again, it's my fault, again. Like, and the look on her face and the look that Pieck gives her, it is set in. The way that she initially started the show hating Eren, wanting to shoot him with the rifle, and now getting the opportunity to point the rifle at Eren, it freezes. That there is a change, and I'm glad that it's there.
I just pray that I can stop seeing gifs of her being punched on my timeline.
Well, in part 2, now that we've gotten, I think part 1 is definitely the we hate Gabi, and then the tail end is, oh, Gabi has a possibility of a future. I think part 2, we're only going to see her in a sympathetic light.
Yeah,
which I need. I need that. I don't want to hate children.
Yeah, and I mean, there's other pieces to note about the fandom's ability to differentiate morality. Yeah. That is a completely different conversation to be had, but I'm sorry, guys, but if I see another one of you sympathizing with Eren on Facebook, I'm going to shoot someone.
Yep.
Oh, wait, no, don't.
No, that, well,
no,
you...
no,
yeah.
no, I'm... Sorry, we live in the United States where I shouldn't use language like that because it can be interpreted to be real. I'm going to be very upset.
Yeah. I will leave a critique comment on those posts.
I will get in fights with you on Facebook because that always goes well.
Yeah. Well, we've talked now about season 4 and the tonal shift that it has presented and the amazing ability to balance the season 3's tone and also transition into this more adult and nuanced tone. And now that it's wrapped up, what are some of the things that you are expecting from part 2? Because it's already so good. Is there anything more that we can explore?
I mean, I'll start with my... there's so many things, but I think the main piece that we need to see in order for this story to wrap up in a satisfactory way is we need to kind of reach the end of the line on the magic system that's in place.
Yeah, we need the answers for the Titans.
Yeah, we need to know exactly what's going on with them, or what the actual paths mean, do. Why are we seeing this person that is potentially Ymir himself the second that Zeke, a person of royal blood, starts to go down? Why do the Ackermans react the way that they do? Like, how is all this tied together? Is it part of the paths? Is it part of Ymir? Is it all the above? Is it have to do with the founding Titan, or does it have to do with Ymir herself?
Right. I'm hoping in part 2, and I'm not hoping, we're going to get it, but I'm looking forward to the day where we can get an Eren POV. I think like Zeke's flashback, because Eren has been so uninvolved in this season, I think we're going to see a lot of the moments from this season, as well as the 4-year time skip, all from Eren's perspective. At least in like one episode, or maybe like spread out across a few. I think that's got to happen.
Yeah, it's gonna be at least by the end. I'd imagine maybe like close to the final, maybe like sort of as a penultimate episode, we might finally get like, this was my actual dastardly plan. That's not how. That's not how
he just
talks.
does a laugh like a mwahaha.
Yeah, he goes into full evil, mad genius mode.
Well.
But
yeah, speaking of dastardly plan, let's be honest.
Talk about the dastardly plan. Yeah,
it's coming, guys.
Yeah,
the rumbling.
Yeah,
they're not gonna just put that in the beginning of season 4 for no reason, with the operatic music and the shadow puppets and the horrible imagery that flashed on screen. We're gonna see it, and there's already inconsistencies with Eren's motives that just don't mesh together. And
I think he's going to cause the whole rumbling. If I'm being honest, I don't think it's going to be that test run.
Well, even if you do a test run of the rumbling, that's still devastating. Like, if you release just the Shiganshina Titans, Colossal Titans are like nearly indestructible. You get 100 of those, Liberia's gone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think he needs to do the full thing.
Liberia or Marley?
Liberia's definitely done. Like the city.
The city itself. Yeah.
Not saying the internment zone, because that'd be fucked. If he was just like my own
fuck
people.
Fuck the internment zone in particular.
But I'm saying like the continent of the town of Liberia could easily get demolished by all the Titans in.
I think even just one colossal Titan is capable of doing that.
Yeah, there's a lot of Titans in the walls, so you don't need them all to wreak havoc. And if he did release them all, how do you even stop that?
I guess with other colossal Titans.
Yeah, all one of them?
All one. Yep.
Oh, man.
Or potentially eating Eren and then getting things back. Yeah. I think that ultimately there's going to be a race to see if someone can eat Eren by the end of this.
That would suck.
It's not gonna. No, it's gonna. What do you mean suck? It's gonna happen.
No, I mean it's gonna be bad. Well, yeah, I don't know.
It's gonna be sad.
Well, here's the thing: if Eren does the rumbling, he can't live.
No, God, no.
There's like that's dead. You gotta die.
Yeah,
I hope
the show would not be able to work without killing him by the end.
I can't say that because that's what we said about Zeke, and that's what we look.
We ate our words from last episode.
I'm just saying this show right now has surprised me enough to where I trust them to do whatever they want and do it in a way that's not only, morally like it's still morally just in its implicit messaging, but also very good storytelling. I trust them at this point.
All right.
Yeah. With that, I cannot believe we're saying this. That is the last episode of 2FAST2MOVIE covering Attack on Titan, Season 4, Part 1. Thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We've seen a few of you just supporting us in our new days, so thank you so much for viewing. If you like this, check out our podcast, Return to the Movie, which we post on all podcast platforms. Just look up Return to the Movie and you can find it there. We're also covering Invincible, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as well as what's the third one? My Hero Academia.
My Hero Academia!
Finally coming back. We're going to be covering that too, so if you like anime, check that out. Until then, it's Too Fast to Movie.